Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudire Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Seva Bhagavati Uttam Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishti. So continuing with the discussion on Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhy Lila, Chapter 4, Sri Madhvendra Puri's Devotional Service, text 103 onwards. Gola haite aila dui vairagi brahmana, Puri gosai rakila tare kariya jata. Eventually, two Brahmins in the renounced order arrived from Bengal, and Madhvendra Puri, who liked them very much, kept them in Vrindavan and gave them all kinds of comforts. Sei doye shishakari seva samarpila, Raja seva haye purir ananda badila. These two were then initiated by Madhvendra Puri, and he entrusted them with the daily service of the Lord. This service was performed continuously, and the worship of the deity became very gorgeous. Thus, Madhvendra Puri was very pleased. The six Goswamis and their followers started many temples, including the temples of Govindev, Gopinath, Madan Mohan, Radha Damodar, Shyam Sundar, Radha Raman, and Gokulanand. The disciples of the Goswamis were entrusted with the Seva Puja, deity worship of these temples. It was not that the disciples were family members of the original Goswamis. All the Goswamis were in the renounced order of life, and Jiva Goswami in particular was a lifelong brahmachari. At present, Sevaites assume the title of Goswami on the basis of their being engaged as Sevaites of the deity. The Sevaites who have inherited their positions now assume proprietorship of the temple, and some of them are selling the deity's properties as if it were their own. However, the temples did not originally belong to these Sevaites. Yeah, in 500 years, many things have changed. mata vatsar dui karila sevana, ek din puri gosai dekhila swapan. In this way, the deity worship in the temple was very gorgeously performed for 2 years. Then one day, Madhvendra Puri had a dream. गोपाल कहे पूरी आमार ताप नहीं जाए मलय अज चंदन लेपर ताबे से जुड़ाए. In his dream, Madhvendra Puri saw Gopal, who said, "My bodily temperature still has not decreased. Please bring sandalwood from the Malay province and smear the pulp over my body to cool me." Well, some things it's like sounds like a fantasy world. Gopal, now for so many years he was in the bushes, so he was feeling hard and hungry. Now Madhvendra Puri established him. So his prashadam is been taken care of. Now he's saying, I'm still very hot. How do we understand this? So he just wanted Madhvendra Puri to perform some more service. The deity of Gopal had been buried within the jungle for many years, and although he was installed and was offered thousands of pots of water, he still felt very hot. He therefore asked Madhvendra Puri to bring sandalwood from the Malay province. Sandalwood produced in the Malay is very popular. That province is situated on the western Ghat, and the hill Nilagiri is sometimes known as Malay Hill. The word Malay Ja is used to indicate the sandalwood produced in the Malay province. Sometimes the Malay refers to the modern country of Malaysia. Formerly, this country also produced sandalwood, but now they have found it profitable to produce rubber trees. Although the Vedic culture was once prevalent in Malaysia, now all the inhabitants are Muslims. Vedic culture is now lost in Malaysia, Java, and Indonesia. Yeah, it used to be like that, but slowly, slowly it has changed. Who knows what Krishna wants later? Maybe it will change back. Who knows? I don't know. But sandalwood. So Malay province, as Prabhupada said, it's Nilgiri, also called Malay Hill, but Malay also ultimate present day Malaysia. And rubber trees, yes, the rubber of Malaysia is very well known all over the world. मलयज आयन या आना याना नीला चले हाहिते अन्य हाइते नाहि तुमी चला त्वरिते. Bring sandalwood pulp from Jagannath Puri. Kindly go quickly, since no one else can do it. You must. स्वप्न देखी पूरी गोसाई रहैला प्रेम वेश प्रभु आज्ञा पाली बारे गेला पूर्व देश. After having this dream, Madhavendra Puri Goswami became very glad due to ecstasy of love of Godhead. And in order to execute the command of the Lord, he started east towards Bengal. So he was very glad to do this service. It wasn't an easy service because he had to walk all the way from Govardhan to Jagannath Puri. It's not, okay, he walked and he reached. It's not like that. And these days we have all the facilities, train and cars and the flights. But still, we don't want to do the service. But Madhavendra Puri was happy to do the service. Sevara nirbandha loka karila sthapan agya magi gauda deshe karila gaman. Before leaving, Madhavendra Puri made all arrangements for regular deity worship and he engaged different people in various duties. Then, taking up the order of Gopal, he started for Bengal. Shantipur Aila Advaitacharya Ghare Purira Prema Dekhi Acharya Anandantare. When Madhavendra Puri arrived at the house of Advaitacharya in Shantipur, the Acharya became very pleased upon seeing the ecstatic love of God that manifest in Madhavendra Puri. So walking. Here it just mentioned in one shloka, but obviously it took him a long time. So first from Vrindavan, when he walked, he came to Navadvip area. And then from there he went to Jagannath Puri. So Navadvip area, he came to Shantipur, the house of Advaita Acharya. तार ठाई मंत्र लैला जतन करिया चलीला दक्षिण पुरी तारे दीक्षा दिया. Advaitacharya begged to be initiated by Madhavendra Puri. After initiating him, Madhavendra Puri started going towards the south. So he gave him initiation when he was there. In this connection, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur comments that Advaita Acharya took initiation from Madhavendra Puri, who was a sannyasi in the disciplic succession of Madhva Sampradaya. So according to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Kiba Vipra Kiba Nyasi Shudra Kene Nai, Yehi Krishna Tattveta Sai Guru Hai. A person may be a Brahman, a sannyasi, a Shudra, or whatever, but if he is well conversant in the science of Krishna, he can become a guru. So this is this statement in Chaitanya Charitamrita by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So this is the basis that Prabhupada used for selecting a guru. If he is well conversant in the science of Krishna, Jai Krishna Tattva Veda, Sai Guru Hai. So it's not a caste system that one accepts a guru from this caste or family system or no, nothing. Only qualification is if the person is Krishna conscious. Jai Krishna Tattva Veda, he knows the science of Krishna. Well conversant, then he is a guru. Otherwise, he cannot be guru. This statement is supported by Sri Madhavendra Puri. According to the Pancharatra injunction, only a householder Brahman can initiate, others cannot. When a person is initiated, it is assumed that he has become a Brahman. Without being initiated by a proper Brahman, one cannot be converted into a Brahman. In other words, unless one is a Brahman, he cannot make another a Brahman. A Grihast Brahman partaking of the Varnashram Dharma institution can secure various types of paraphernalia to worship Lord Vishnu through his honest labor. Actually, people beg to be initiated by these householder Brahmins just to become successful in the Varnashram institution or to become free from material desires. It is therefore necessary for a spiritual master in the Grihastha ashram to be a strict Vaishnava. A spiritual master from the sannyas order has very little opportunity to perform archana, deity worship, but when one accepts a spiritual master from the transcendental sannyasis, the principle of deity worship is not at all neglected. To implement this conclusion, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave us his opinion in the words, Kiba Vipra Kiba Nyasi, etc. This indicates that the Lord understood the weakness of society in its maintaining that only a Grihastha Brahman should be a spiritual master. So this was the rule earlier, or this was the trend earlier. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu indicated that it doesn't matter whether the spiritual master is a Grihastha, householder, a sannyasi, or even a Shudra. The spiritual master simply must be conversant in the essence of the Shastra. He must understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Only then can one become a spiritual master. Diksha actually means initiating a disciple with transcendental knowledge by which he becomes freed from all material contamination. So Divya Jnanam Dadati. So that Diksha, there's a shloka, it says, Divya Jnana, at the time of Diksha, he gives Divya Jnana, transcendental knowledge, by which he becomes freed from all material contamination. So Advaita Acharya, he is a leader of all the Brahmins in Navadvip, and he accepted Diksha from Madhavendra Puri. Remunate Kaila Gopi Nath Darshan, Tara Rupa Dekhiya, Haila Vivalman. Going south, Sri Madhavendra Puri visited Remuna, where Gopinath is situated. Upon seeing the beauty of the deity, Madhavendra Puri was overwhelmed. Nitya Gita Kari Jagamohan Vashila, Kya Kya Bhoga Lage Brahmane Puchila. In the corridor of the temple from which people generally viewed the deity, Madhavendra Puri chanted and danced. Then he sat down there and asked a Brahman what kind of foods they offered to the deity. Sevara Soshtav Dekhi Ananditam Mane Uttama Bhog Lage Eta Bhuji Anumane. From the excellence of the arrangements, Madhavendra Puri understood by deduction that only the best food was offered. Because he was engaged in Gopal's deity worship, so he could understand that the nice arrangement. So they must be offering best of the bhoga. Jaiche iha bhoga lage sakale puchiba, taiche bhiyane abhoga gopale lagaiva. Madhavendra Puri thought, I shall inquire from the priest what foods are offered to Gopinath, so that by making arrangements in our kitchen, we can offer similar foods to Sri Gopal. So one who serves a deity, his mind is always in the deity worship. How can I best serve my deity? So this is what he inquires everywhere. So he's in Madhavendra Puri is inquiring. What foods he are offering to Gopinath? Because he could understand they must be offering something great. यही लागी पूछी लेना ब्राह्मणे रस्ताने Brahman kahila sabha bhoga vivarane. When the Brahmin priest was questioned about this matter, he explained in detail what kind of foods were offered to the deity of Gopinath. संध्याय भोग लागे खीर अमृत केली नाम द्वादश अमृत पात्रे भारी अमृत समान. The Brahmin priest said, in the evening, the deities offered sweet rice in 12 earthen pots. Because the taste is as good as nectar, Amrit. It is named Amrit Keli. गोपीनाथेर खीरवली प्रसिद्ध नाम जार पृथ्वी ते आइचे भोगा कहा नहीं यार. This sweet rice is celebrated throughout the world as Gopinath Khira or Kshira. It is not offered anywhere else in the world. Hena kale sahi bhog ठाकुरे लगैला सुनी पूरी गोसाई किछु mane vicharila. While Madhavendra Puri was talking with the Brahman peas, a sweet rice was placed before the deity as an offering. Hearing this, Madhavendra Puri thought as follows. So sweet rice was placed before the deity, so it is still being offered. Ayachitta khira prasad alpa yad pai swada jani taicha shira gopale lagai. If without my asking, a little sweet rice is given to me, I can then taste it and make a similar preparation to offer my Lord Gopal. E chaya lajja paya Vishnu smaran kaila Hena kale bhoga sari arati baji. Madhavendra Puri became greatly ashamed when he desired to taste the sweet rice, and he immediately began to think of Lord Vishnu. While he was thus thinking of Lord Vishnu, the offering was completed and the arati ceremony began. So why he was ashamed? He was ashamed because he was thinking of tasting the kheer when the bhoga was still getting offered to the Lord. One should not even think like that. And that is why most of the temples, they close the curtains when the bhoga is being offered, or they put some kind of partition so people cannot see what is being offered, because it's an offense to even think of tasting when the Lord is eating, when the Lord is accepting the bhoga. Madhavendra Puri was ashamed. Of course, when it comes to us, we will think, what's a big deal? And we are not stealing. But no, even the thoughts. And that is why, especially in ISKCON temple, this is how it's been, that when the bhoga comes from the kitchen to the altar, they cover it with cloths, so nobody can see it. And when the bhoga is offered, they have a partition, or a curtain, or a partition to cover it. And that's the right way, actually. So deity worship, we got to be very careful. Arati dekhiya puri kaida namaskar, bahir aila kare kichu na kahila. After the arti was finished, Madhavendra Puri offered his obeisances to the deity and then left the temple. He did not say anything more to anyone because he was so ashamed that how could he think of tasting the kheer when it was still being offered to the Lord. Aya chitta vritti puri virakta udasa aya chitta paile khaya nahe upavasa. Madhavendra Puri avoided begging. So he was ayachit vritti, ayachit. So he was not begging. He was completely unattached and indifferent to material things. If without his begging, someone offered him some food, he would eat. Otherwise, he would fast. This is the Paramahansa stage, the highest stage for a sannyasi. Why? Because then he's completely surrendered, completely dependent on the mercy of the Lord. So just like in Govardhan, Krishna himself came and brought him the pot of milk when he saw Madhavendra Puri was fasting. The Krishna will take care, but to come to that level of faith, it, it's not that easy. There's a devotee in ISKCON, and he told me that when he heard of Madhavendra Puri and he read this story, he also wanted to develop this ayachita vritti, that he would not eat anything if somebody doesn't ask him. Well, we have to be at that level. We cannot imitate Madhavendra Puri. So he was telling, once he was in the temple prasadam room. Now in India, it's a different setup. So whoever's turn is, they serve the prasadam. You just sit down in the line. But in America, the prasadam is there on the table. You go. It's like a buffet system. You go take whatever you want. So he was in the prasadam room, and now he had taken this vow that I will not eat unless somebody asks me, and nobody asked him, and nobody served him. So then he was telling a devotee, please ask me to eat so that I can eat. So then he said, no, this is not going to work with me. But Madhavendra Puri, that probably the highest stage for a sannyasi. Ayachit vritti or ajagar vritti does not ask anyone for food. If someone offers him food voluntarily, he eats. Ayachit vritti means being accustomed to refrain from begging. And ajagar vritti indicates one who is compared to a python, the big snake that makes no effort to acquire food, but rather allows food to come automatically within his mouth. In other words, a Paramhamsa simply engages exclusively in the service of the Lord, without caring even for eating or sleeping. It was stated about the 6 Goswamis, Nidra Hara Vihara Gati Vijito. In the Paramhamsa stage, one conquers the desire for eats food and sense gratification. He conquers completely all this sense business is completely conquered. One remains a humble, meek mendicant, engaged in the service of the Lord day and night. Madhavendra Puri had attained this Paramhamsa stage. So we can't even imagine. Ayachita vritti. Prema mrite tripta kshuddha trishna nahi bahade. Khira ichha haila tahe mane aparadhe. A Paramhansa like Madhavendra Puri is always satisfied in the loving service of the Lord. Material hunger and thirst cannot impede his activities. When he desired to taste a little sweet rice offered to the deity, he considered that he had committed an offense by desiring to eat what was being offered to the deity. So this was his mood. It is advisable that food being offered to the deity be covered when taken from the kitchen to the deity room. In that way, others may not see it. Those who are not accustomed to following the advanced regulative devotion principles may desire to eat the food, and that is an offense. Therefore, no one should be given a chance to even see it. However, when it is brought before the deity, it must be uncovered. Since the food uncovered before the deity, Madhavendra Puri desired to taste a little of it so that he could prepare a similar sweet rice for his Gopal. So in that temple, Gopinathji temple, maybe there's no partition or no curtain drawn when the deity is offered the bhoga. Madhavendra Puri was so strict, however, that he considered this to be an offense. Consequently, he left the temple without saying anything to anyone. The Paramhamsa is therefore called Vijit Shadguna. Vijit means he has conquered. He must conquer the 6 material qualities: Kam, Krodha, Lobha, Moh, Matsarya, and Shuddha Trishna. Lust, anger, greed, illusion, enviousness, and hunger and thirst. So he should conquer all this. That's a Paramahansa stage. Of course, not just conquer all this, because any, uh, I mean, if somebody um, has conquered but he hasn't developed love for Krishna, that is also a possibility. One can do that. So, real Paramahansa has developed love for Krishna, but so in the process, he has conquered all these six qualities. So, moreover, as we make progress in bhakti, in yoga or in bhakti, especially in bhakti, all these bodily necessities, they go down. Eating, sleeping, definitely no mating or no defending, they go down. Person becomes completely surrendered, completely dependent on Krishna. So that's one way of seeing our progress. Of course, at the same time, one gets more and more attached to Krishna. Krishna, Krishnam, Krishna Katha, Krishna Seva, Krishna Puja. He gets more and more attached. So anyway, we'll stop here. Take it up further tomorrow. See anybody has any questions or comments.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Anand. Okay, you all have a safe and wonderful day. Hare Krishna.